Hello, welcome to WMKV. I'm George Zahn, the station manager for WMKV Radio, and especially welcome to Seniors Who Rock. I am the station manager here. We welcome you to our studios. I'm proud to serve as your master of ceremonies for today's event. And please remember, since I'm a radio guy, sometimes I will refer to some notes. So if I look away, please forgive me. We do thank you for making time to join us virtually to honor 3 inspiring seniors. In 2015, Pro Seniors established Seniors Who Rock to shine a positive light on older adults and to celebrate their value and their vibrancy these men and women bring to our community. We also know the need for pro-senior services is continuing to increase as we emerge from a challenging and very uncertain year. Pro-Seniors provides nonprofit, no-cost legal and long-term advocacy to Ohio seniors. Soon, you're going to hear more about the mission and inspiring honorees. Seniors Who Rock is possible because of support of our sponsors, including our in-kind sponsor, ITA Audiovisual Solutions. We're grateful to our volunteer videographer, Ken Bowers. Ken, thank you. Recently retired from ITA Audiovisual Solutions, and also to Brittany Ballard. Now, Brittany is the master of crafting the honoree introductions. Please sit back and enjoy their combined artistry. We love it. WMKV is proud to join CET Connect and the Cincinnati Bar Association as media sponsors again this year for Seniors Who Rock. As a longtime partner of Pro Seniors, WMKV helps to reach seniors and caregivers with sound advice from Pro Seniors in their weekly show, Medicare Moment. We hope you'll check it out. As station manager, I also get to be part of the annual consumer forum with Pro Seniors. It is wonderful and a great service to the greater Cincinnati community that we broadcast on WMKV. Special thanks to all who have joined with friends, family, and colleagues to watch today, including Graydon Law. They're hosting a watch party to celebrate our honorees. Now, if you've tried your luck at the basket raffle, stay tuned. We'll be announcing the winners at the conclusion of the program. Mary Day, Pro Seniors Development Director, will also contact each winner. We're grateful to our basket raffle sponsors who have added to the value of each one. Now, before we get started, for those of you who use social media, and I hope you will, please use hashtag #SeniorsWhoRock and tag Pro Seniors as you're watching this program today. Hashtag #SeniorsWhoRock. It's that simple. Also, Twitter and Instagram, be sure to use @ProSeniors Inc., INC, or Facebook and LinkedIn @ProSeniors. To date, Pro Seniors has recognized 24 Seniors Who Rock honorees. We're happy that several of our former honorees have joined us virtually this year. We thank you for being with us today. This empowering event would not be possible without our amazing sponsors. On behalf of Pro Seniors, I want to thank our generous gold sponsor, Mark Ayer of Redding Investments. Mark, your gold sponsorship will help Pro Seniors reach more Ohio seniors who need their expertise to resolve a legal or long-term care problem. Our silver sponsors believe in justice too. Cooney, Ferguson, and LeVay, Graydon Law, Heritage Bank, Hesch Law, Ohio Access to Justice Foundation, Robbins, Kelly, Patterson, and Tucker, and the Yunker Group. Thank you also to our bronze sponsors listed here, Barnes Denning, Bartlett and Company, Bill Stein, Built to Give Back, Johnson Investment Council, Mary Meinhardt, Malott and Malott, Dimity and Matt Orlet, PNC Bank, Ritter Danaher Financial Advisory, Spring Grove Funeral Homes, Taft Law, and Von Lehman CPA. And a special thank you to our friends of Seniors Who Rock, who also invest in supporting the mission of Pro Seniors. We have so much to be grateful for. It is now my pleasure to introduce Attorney Dimity Orlet, the Executive Director of Pro Seniors.
Thank you, George, for that introduction and also for being our MC. And thanks to all of you for joining us. Pro Seniors is proud to host this event each year. It's truly an honor to celebrate remarkable seniors who are making contributions to make our communities a better place. It's also a wonderful opportunity to shine a positive light on aging, and also for us to each rethink and maybe challenge our own beliefs about what it means to grow older and to be a senior, or maybe what we would hope it would mean to grow older and be a senior. In many cases, our beliefs about aging have been shaped by negative stereotypes that are so pervasive in our society and really throughout the world. And unfortunately, those stereotypes are not harmless. They do have real life consequences because they become, they turn into action, they turn into policy and into laws that devalue and harm seniors. But at ProSeniors, we believe, and we know you do too, that dignity and rights are ageless, that regardless of your age, you have value and deserve access to a life of meaning. So since 1975, ProSeniors has worked to enhance the quality of life and the independence of seniors by providing no-cost legal and long-term care advocacy, education, and access to resources. And I'm pleased to say that last year, despite being in the midst of a global pandemic, we were able to help more than 8,000 seniors. We were also able to empower more than 9,000 seniors, their families and caregivers, through community outreach and education. Now, all of this is only possible because of the hard work, dedication, and really more than ever before, the adaptability of our talented staff of 40, of our growing volunteer corps of more than 70, and through the generous support of people like you. Thank you so much for that support. We're incredibly grateful. We could not do it without you, so please do keep it coming. Now, before we move to our celebration of honorees, I'd like to share several stories with you from clients, volunteers, staff, and a board member about how ProSeniors makes a difference. First, you'll hear from Legal Helpline client Suzanne and staff attorney Jeremy Koneman.
Thank you, Dimity, for that warm introduction. I'm here with Suzanne Whalen. Suzanne, thank you for taking your time to be with us today.
Of course.
I wanted to ask you about some of your background, your education, and your career.
I grew up in Western New York, near Buffalo. I spent part of my childhood on a farm, and even though I'm blind, my parents decided that I didn't need to use my blindness as an excuse to shirk. And so I got to do the same things my sister did. I got chores to do, and I even had to help round up the sheep when they got out, and that's fun. I graduated valedictorian of my class from the New York State School for the Blind, and I went to Wells College, and I majored in the Romance languages, Spanish, Italian, and a smattering of French. And in order to major in the Romance languages, you had to study abroad, so I did. Then I went to the University of Texas at Austin, got my master's degree in bilingual education, and I became a bilingual educator. What I did was teach sighted Hispanic children. So what I did was to teach reading and writing in both Spanish and English. Then for math, science, and social studies, I taught each new concept in Spanish because I have native level fluency in Spanish, so that the children could understand the concept. And as soon as they understood the concept, I introduced the English vocabulary that went with that skill, because I wanted them to develop fluency in both languages. And that's what I did for a few decades, and I loved it.
Well, we're very glad that you're here in Cincinnati with us. How did you first hear about ProSeniors?
Well, I believe it was probably from the Council on Aging. I was having trouble with this mobile home park, which I love, but they were not doing some repairs that I needed to get done. And I didn't know how to get them done, because I would present the repairs, the work order in writing, and I'd talk to the manager, and it was a different manager than we have now. I want to emphasize that. And I just couldn't get them to get off the dime and get the job done. And finally, I contacted ProSeniors when I found that ProSeniors had attorneys on staff, and I said, tell me what to do. And they gave me all the directions. You know, they kind of told me, not word for word, but gave me an idea that I had to put the request in writing, and I had to send it certified, and you know, a basic idea of the wording that I needed to use. They helped me to know what to do to get the repairs to the roof done that we needed done. And then the other thing that they Pro Seniors did was help me apply through Job and Family Services, and Ohio is now assisting me to pay my Part B Medicare premiums. And I also found out, with the help of Mr. Koenig here, that my income is such that I can qualify for SNAP. And with his help, I now receive SNAP payments, or SNAP assistance. And so I absolutely am very grateful to Pro Seniors. They helped me get the repairs done that I needed on this mobile home, which I rent. They helped me to be able to get assistance paying my Medicare Part B premiums. They've helped me get SNAP.
It's been a personal pleasure of mine to be able to help you as the attorney too.
Certainly I wouldn't be able to have as much food as I have now if I had to buy it out of my own meager income. I have more food now that I have SNAP. I just feel that somebody cares about me. You know, somebody is concerned about me, and that's important.
Susan Whalen, it's been a pleasure to talk with you. It's been a pleasure to be with you. It's been an absolute pleasure to assist you with the SNAP application and get to know you over the last few months. Thank you very much for your time here and sharing
Well, thank you.
About your life and your history. And thank you for the years of service as a teacher as well as a member of our community.
And I'm just grateful that you're here. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Next, we'll hear from Ombudsman Intake Specialist Carolyn King, who first became acquainted with Pro Seniors as a caregiver, then a volunteer, and now a staff member. She knows firsthand about caregiving.
Thank you, Dimity, for the introduction. I learned about Pro Seniors over 11 years ago when my mother was a resident in a facility, and there was a situation there that I was very panicky about and did not know what to do, but I wanted something done. So someone shared the name ombudsman to call them, and I didn't know what an ombudsman was, could barely pronounce the word. And I called, and on the other end was Marvin Wilson. And he shared with me some things I could try to see if I could get a resolution for it, and if not, to give him a call back. And he would help to intervene with the process. In doing so, he did have to wind up intervening with the process, but it let me know that my mom had rights, but it allowed me to be a person to share the information and not keep it quiet, so that other family members and other residents could know what their rights were as a resident. As a resident, that's still their home. So if they were out in the community, they have certain rights. Those rights still apply in the facility, which I don't think a lot of even the family members recognize that, and that is important. Throughout the process of working with other family members within the nursing home and sharing what their rights were, they were very thankful and grateful for me sharing the information. And as my mother went on to other facilities, I decided that I would like to volunteer and help others, because I didn't realize not just the initial facility that my mom was in the very beginning, but then the next 2 or 3 facilities that she was in, there were family members that didn't know because their loved one was in the hospital, and then they were just put into a facility. They didn't know that they could have chosen a different facility for their loved one to be in. What they thought was this is the best place for them, when in the end it really wasn't. They weren't happy with it. After volunteering and helping, telling everybody that I knew, that I came across that were uncomfortable, like I would come and have lunch with my mom. So, and hearing the conversations that some of the residents would be having at the tables, I'd go and sit with them and say, well, hey, do you know about the ombudsman program? And then I would share the phone number, and I'm sure that probably kept them busy for a while. And when I'd come back a couple weeks later, they'll see me and they'll say, hey, they came out to see me and this is what happened. Thank you so much. So they realize now that they can spread the word amongst each other. and that they could get help not just for themselves, but change how they do things in the facilities, which was really important to some of them. And with that being said, after volunteering for a while, just last November, I was fortunate enough to get a full-time position with the organization. So now that instead of me being the frantic one on the phone, when the calls come in, I now receive those calls and I feel comfortable in handling them because that was once me. So I know the importance and the compassion that we feel about the people that we love, how we want what's best for them. So that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm here, because I want them to know that that they deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So that phone number, that 1-800 number, the 513-458-5518, you can call that number and we will be more than happy to make sure that your needs are being met and your rights are being respected. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Ohio Senior Medicare Patrol volunteer Brian Rhame. Brian was a new retiree when he first got involved with Pro Seniors.
Thanks for the introduction, Dimity. So when I was just retiring, I was looking around for volunteer activities to keep me active and also give me a chance to learn more about issues that seniors face. And I found out about Pro Seniors, and through Pro Seniors found out about the Senior Medicare Patrol and S&P program. And the more I learned about the issues of fraud and scamming that occur with senior citizens, the more outraged I was. It's really very bad. Here we have senior citizens who are concerned about their health care, their retirement, quality of life, things that responsible people should be concerned about. And these con people will come in and leverage that concern and try to create a false story that sucks them into some kind of con. And they can lose their savings, they can lose their medical history, their personal information. And it's really outrageous. And through the Pro Seniors program, the S&P program, I learned the things that we can do to help. And I really like that. The three kind of things we do. We offer information to help seniors recognize scams. We help them by telling them what kind of scams exist, what kind of common features are in scams, and they can therefore protect themselves a little bit better from falling prey. But secondly, one thing, also an important thing we do, as I said, they do have legitimate concerns. So we can help point them to people who can give them the right kind of information to help them. So you're worried about getting a COVID-19 shot. Well, it costs you something. We can point you to the Medicare site that tells you exactly that it costs you nothing. We can point you to, if you're worried about cancer running in your family, we'll talk to your family doctor about these kind of genetic tests and see if they really help or not. So we can point you in the right direction to get really good information and not have to be worried about this email or phone call that you get out of the blue, which may sound interesting, but you're not sure about. And then third, the S&P staff, if you or a loved one actually worries that they've fallen prey to a scam or have fallen prey to a scam, they can help you kind of limit the damage. They know how to work through Medicare issues, bank and credit card issues with a local legal agencies and so forth. They can help you work through all that so that the damage is minimized. Now, those are three great services, and as a senior, I think it really makes me feel comfortable to know that there are these kinds of things out there that can help me. So the program is a really good one that I've enjoyed being a part of. It feels like I'm part of the good guys, which is always a good thing. But even more so, there's some more personal benefits to it. First off, the training. I've learned a lot. We get lots of good training through Pro Seniors, through the S&P program. We learn a lot from each other, from the staff at Pro Seniors. And of course, you learn from the people you talk with. Always hearing new things, learning new things every time I go to a presentation, hand out materials, talk to people. So that's a lot of fun too. Meeting all these people, hearing their stories is a lot of fun. And then finally, I've also had a chance to use some of the resources. So when my father was in the nursing home and my mother was worried about some things, Pro Seniors was able to provide some information to help me help her work through those issues. And just recently, my youngest daughter is now going across the country to a master's program and realizing maybe it's time for her to make sure we have a power of attorney for her and healthcare power of attorney. And right there on Pro Senior's website, these kind of materials exist. Explain what they are, how to use them, and even give you some forms to start with. So it's a good program. I stay active. It's fun. I learn a lot. And I feel like I'm helping. And so that's why I hope to remain active in it for many years to come.
Next, we'll hear from Board President Michael Kennedy, who would like more people to know about how Pro Seniors can help.
Hello, my name is Michael Kennedy, and I'm the president of Pro Seniors Board of Directors. I've been associated with Pro Seniors for approximately 10, maybe 12 years. And it's really been a pleasure. It's an unknown gem that I was not aware of until one of my former co-workers introduced me to it, Lynn Gray. The benefit of Pro Seniors is the fact that it really assists a lot of the area seniors who are not knowledgeable on how to gain assistance in their daily lives, whether it be from financial abuse or housing, or they may be in a financial straits where they're about to lose their home, and Pro Seniors can step in and help. It is an unknown gem in the city, and as our baby boomer group begins to age and roles reverse where they're now taking care of their parents, I think it's going to be a great benefit to those individuals. But the object is to get the name out about Pro Seniors and what they do. I personally have benefited from Pro Seniors when my mother had a couple of accidents at home and we found that she was no longer able to live at home. I reached out to some of the staff to get some advice and direction. And then as things happened, my sister, who is disabled, was living with my mother, needed some assistance. And once again, I reached out to some of the staff to get some assistance and direction. And they were very helpful. Things that you just don't commonly run into, they have the information to assist you in making those things happen. And therefore, you can continue to find your loved ones in a comfortable place, backed up by knowledge. Pro Seniors is a wonderful organization, and the biggest challenge they have is that we need to increase our recognition. So please visit our website and tell your friends about Pro Seniors and how they can be of assistance.
And now back to George for our celebration of honorees.
Hearing the kind of impact that Pro Seniors has in our community from actual clients is so inspiring. All of us realize that resolving a legal or long-term care issue literally changes lives. Not only is Seniors Who Rock a meaningful recognition event, but it is also Pro Seniors' primary fundraiser. If you'd like to invest in making aging amazing, please consider joining others by giving generously to Pro Seniors. You can choose the Give Now button at proseniors.org. That's the Give Now button at proseniors.org, or text Seniors Rock to 44321. That's Seniors Rock 44321. Not only do I thank you, but I have to say that many seniors who benefit from the great work performed by Pro Seniors, their staff and their volunteers, they thank you too. And now for the stars of our show, our honorees. To qualify as an honoree, one must be at least 70 years old and still active, working or volunteering and adding value and vibrancy to our community. Each honoree will speak for a few minutes and share their thoughts on what keeps them rocking. Don't forget to post about the event. Once again, hashtag Seniors Who Rock. Now let's begin. Our first honoree grew up in a military family, and while she never wore a uniform, she has been a soldier for our community's children, fighting for equity in education. Deborah Mariner Allsop is the perfect advocate for children because she's determined and passionate. And she says, I understand the value of education as a leveler. You begin early with children. It starts really at birth. Why is education Deborah's passion? She grew up with smart, creative grandmothers who had second and fourth grade educations. And she also took advantage of traveling the globe to places like Panama, California, and Japan, where she had access to quality education through the military. Deborah experienced the contrast between educational opportunities again when her family moved back to Virginia when she was in the 10th grade. The local schools had just reopened after being closed for 5 years in an effort to avoid integration. As many of us know, after just 1 year of a pandemic, 5 years is life-altering. Deborah says, that was something that was really so profoundly troubling to me on a daily basis, seeing that kind of injustice. As a result, Deborah has been speaking up and stepping up for children for almost 50 years. She says, I believe strongly in helping the most innocent among us, our children, some of whom face huge obstacles in becoming responsible citizens in adulthood. They are our future, and it's up to all of us to make sure that all kids are safe and educated and can enjoy the basics of life. Deborah spent 29 years with Greater Cincinnati United Way and is now the CEO and Executive Director of Families Forward, a United Way partner agency that operates after-school programming in the Cincinnati Public School District. She served on the Wyoming Board of Education for over 16 years, on the board of Great Oaks Career Campuses, and on the board of Cincinnati Preschool Promise. It should come as no surprise that Deborah's own family exemplifies the values of education. Deborah has her master's degree in community planning, her husband James has a PhD in clinical psychology, and her son Jacob earned his MBA at Ohio Dominican and works in financial services. But Deborah didn't stop with her own family. A significant number of children in our community have her to thank for quality education. On behalf of her incredible impact on children, we are honored to recognize Deborah Mariner Allsop as a 2021 Senior Who Rocks.
Thank you, George, for that introduction, and it's really good to be here. I've known for a while now that I was a senior, but it's very recent that I learned that I was a senior that rocks, so I'm trying to live up to the rocking part. So along the way, I worked on several initiatives which I'm most proud of related to quality and affordable child care. The coordinated daycare system in the 80s that United Way in the county and the city of Cincinnati partnered, which served over 2,000 kids a year. Also working on Success by Six that the United Way brought to this area in the early 2000s. And here I am now on the Preschool Promise Board as a senior who rocks. I'm also very thankful to the patience and support of my family. My husband, James, and my son, Jacob, have really been very patient with me because I've been an energizer bunny about the things that I think are important. Well, I always go back to my earliest inspiration, my grandmother, who had a second grade education, and I've talked about that. Education was very important to her, and she instilled in us one thought: if you get an education, it's one thing that no one can ever take from you, and that you can give to others as a result of being educated. My grandmother worked as a domestic, and I don't know what that's called nowadays, but she was very proud of the work that she did as a caregiver. So her belief that education was very important was instilled in her children and her grandchildren. So all of us have a very strong work ethic. Early in my career, and I was a much less mature professional, but had very mature thoughts about an opportunity that was given to me to work with what was called daycare in 1980, the Daycare Allocation Committee, and I was surrounded by a lot of people who were early childhood educators, and I felt kind of inadequate because I wasn't a professional in that field. But I believe what I didn't have in terms of professional knowledge, I made up in terms of being a quick learner and also being persistent and really catching the spirit on the importance of early childhood education. I'm very honored now as I look back to 2017 when we launched the Preschool Promise to the things that we've been able to accomplish. So I feel like I've gone full cycle on that part of the trail that I've been on for the 43 years that I've been a professional in Greater Cincinnati. Never would I have thought that I would be in this building 43 years. Never would I have thought that I would be a senior who rocks. But again, thank you very much, Pro Seniors, for recognizing me.
I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that Deborah's lifelong commitment to education is absolutely inspiring. Quality education for all is her message. In 1964, our second honoree, B. Larsen, turned to her husband and said, "I'm thinking about going to law school." Well, he immediately said, "What a great idea." B had 3 children. She had expected a career as a homemaker. B believes her husband gave her the greatest gift in his positive reaction and support. It buoyed her to survive night school as one of 2 women in a class at law school. At age 40, she became an attorney and shaped a 50-year career that would be a gift to all of her clients. Early in that career, B helped her longtime friend Jack Sherman establish a public defender office for Cincinnati. She honed her skills there for 11 years before opening up her own practice in 1980. Then she read Getting to Yes, Negotiating Agreement Without Giving In, and it changed her life. She wanted to be a mediator and negotiate with the other side, not crush the other side, which would ultimately hurt the whole family. B mediated primarily divorce and post-divorce cases through her brainchild, the Center for Resolution Disputes, which opened in 1988. The center's mediators accepted legal cases, including those involving injuries and malpractice, from the Hamilton County Court of Common Pleas. B is considered one of the best mediators in our country, winning many awards for her work. She served as the first female president of the Cincinnati Bar Association, and she shared commentaries based on her mediation work on Cincinnati Public Radio's WVXU for years. When B retired at the age of 88, she began to dream of writing a book. She says, "For me, writing keeps the stage lights on." And recalling memorable experiences, both personal and work-related, exploring and crystallizing their meaning and crafting a story offers a new role, a revival, a second act. In 2019, B published The Third Person in the Room, Stories of Relationships at a Turning Point, a collection of essays from her years as mediator and lessons on life. B is still writing and thinking about navigating relationships. Her insights are truly a gift. We are honored to recognize B. Larsen as a 2021 Senior Who Rocks.
Thank you, George. It's an honor to be honored by Pro Seniors because this is an agency I have so admired over the years for the wonderful work that you do. In trying to think of a particular phrase or quote, what came to my mind was something that was sent to me by a dear friend that said, "Face your fears." And I think, I know that had a great meaning for me because back in the day, I, like so many other women, got married very young. I had just barely turned 20. But I came to that age right as World War II was ending. After the war, the emphasis in the country was rebuilding families, consumerism, and I suppose I fell right in with that. I had 3 children. And it was in 1965 that I started law school. And was one of 2 women in my class of over 114, 15, and the other one dropped out. So the next turning point was when I graduated from law school. So I entered private practice in 1980, and believe it or not, there were still no women on the bench, there were no blacks on the bench, and there were no Democrats on the bench. course, my involvement with the Bar Association also became a turning point. And I had met a very influential person in my life, Robert Rack. He introduced me to the whole field of mediation, so that in the late 1980s, through my involvement with Bar Association, was able to found, with others, the Center for Resolution of Disputes, which provided mediation. Working in the domestic relations court, being a good trial lawyer did not protect families from destruction. And so the concept of mediating and keeping people going through the very difficult and traumatic times of a divorce, providing them with that mediation option became the center of my professional life. I had a wonderful, wonderful experience working with clients in mediation. I mean, it's such a privilege for people to come and really share their most intimate fears, concerns, in a setting in which I was able to use my expertise to help them find their way to new lives, really, and to protect their children from the inevitable conflict of divorce. So, retired, and along with Bob Rack, I guess the next turning point was starting the Beyond Civility project. We were able, with Beyond Civility, to bring people together to share points of view. We had wonderful back-to-back programs where people who had very strong positions on an issue would agree to take the opposite position and be asked questions and to sit in the shoes, literally, of the other side. I really appreciate this recognition from pro seniors and admire so the work that you do and the attorneys who are drawn to helping people who can't afford professional services. So to be recognized by such a fine agency is indeed a great honor.
Thank you for the wisdom, B, of looking at life's transitions. This perspective gives us all something to think about in our own future. Our final 2021 honoree, Bob Ramsay, intentionally spent a week in silent retreat at Gethsemane Abbey. Maintaining his silence was difficult, but he enjoyed the beautiful acres of woods on walks, and it was a week filled with spiritual meaning and introspection. Equally challenging, Bob completed the Marco Island Sprint Triathlon in 2016, and when he lived in Lexington, he owned a share in a one-eyed racehorse. Does this kind of faith, focus, and fun sound like your accountant? If not, maybe it should. Bob is an extraordinary accountant. He has a PhD in accounting from Indiana University and an MBA from the University of Louisville. He was a corporate accountant before becoming a professor of accounting at the University of Kentucky, where for 24 years he published articles and gave presentations with titles like, get this, Concession, Contention, and Accountability in Auditor-Client Negotiations. He was an ad hoc reviewer and editorial board member for 10 different accounting journals, and he's been active in the American Accounting Association. Basically, Bob is like the Babe Ruth of accounting. Well, he's a Cardinal fan, so let's call him the Stan Musial of accounting. More importantly, Bob is an extraordinary person who believes in helping others. He has a long history of volunteering for his church, his children's sports teams, and social service agencies. Bob has served as a board member for the Christian Appalachian Project for 20 years. And their former CEO, Bill Mills, described Bob as a very humble servant who wants to serve because he wants to see good done. In Cincinnati, Bob has been actively involved in the St. Vincent de Paul Conference at Nativity of Our Lord Catholic Church in Pleasant Ridge, where he helps neighbors by visiting in person before the pandemic, answering call center phones, and connecting people to essential community resources. He says, "There's no better gift you could give yourself than joining St. Vincent de Paul and visiting the poor." But perhaps Bob's greatest gift has been his family, his wife Sue, their 2 sons, Robert and Drew, and their 5 grandchildren. Bill Mills says, people who know Bob's kids see his character and influence in how they live their lives and make a difference, kindness, warmth, and compassion. In fact, it's Bob's volunteering that motivated his granddaughter to contribute 40 hours of volunteer service to St. Vincent de Paul as well. For his continued service to our community, we are honored to recognize Bob Ramsay as a 2021 Senior Who Rocks.
Well, thank you for the kind words and for the honor. I mean, it truly is an honor. It's truly humbling when I look at the previous winners and what Bea and Deborah have done. And I also know a lot of other seniors who rock that could receive or deserve this award, including my wife Sue, who's the best thing in my life and volunteers and does more than I do, actually. I was asked that I might share a quote that kind of guides me or that I lean on, and I thought of words by Pope Francis and Dr. King and St. Vincent. But the thing that I really drives me is Matthew 25, that says, as you know, that when you feed the hungry, when you clothe the naked, when you visit the sick or those in prison, you're feeding Jesus and you're clothing Jesus and you're visiting Jesus. And that just reminds me what a joy and a blessing it is to be able to do this and to share that love, that unconditional love. And that we really need to be taking care of one another. And what a blessing, again, that it is to be able to do that. For example, when we do our visits at St. Vincent de Paul, we say a prayer at the end of the visit with our neighbors. And we often ask them to lead a prayer. And it's just amazing, some of the prayers that we get that show such strength and resilience after people that had really bad scrapes in life and tough breaks and made mistakes. But they show such great faith. And it's an inspiration to me and the people that go out with me. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way, that's seen that. For example, there's one lady that we visited who's blind. And we took her some groceries and had a visit with her and asked her at the end of the visit, would she like to lead us in a prayer? She said, I'll sing it to you. And she sung the Lord's Prayer, and I always get broken up when I talk about it because it was such a beautiful thing. It's so inspirational. But that's the kind of blessing that we get in serving others. So if I had anything to say to the seniors, I would say, get involved, and because there's so much that needs to be done at Pro Seniors, Pro Kids, St. Vincent de Paul, the United Way, and other. And the one thing that we have as retirees is lots of time to share. So I would just suggest that it's a real joy and a real blessing to be able to share that time and do that.
I believe we'd all agree that our 3 honorees, Deborah Allsop, Bea Larsen, and Bob Ramsay, are outstanding individuals. Their ongoing engagement and commitment have a positive impact on our community, and they inspire each one of us. Join me in recognizing these wonderful Seniors Who Rock one more time. I'd also like to recognize the Resource Development Committee and other event volunteers for crafting this virtual event worthy of our honorees. Thank you so much. Please post your pictures. Remember to do this with hashtag Seniors Who Rock. Tag us at Pro Seniors for social media. And finally, Pro Seniors does not charge for services. and they operate only through gifts and other funding. There are so many wonderful nonprofits in the greater Cincinnati area, and we know you have charitable choices to make. Please think about this. You can text Seniors Rock to 44321. That's Seniors Rock to 44321. You can also give at the Pro Seniors website, proseniors.org, or you can contact Mary Day to make a legacy gift. What a great gift that would be. Please make a generous gift to Pro Seniors in support of all the seniors who need their help. We look forward to seeing each and every one of you in person next year.